Hello and welcome to the channel. So part 3 of this Kelly 50 amp. Part 1 we opened it up with the intentions of giving it a general service, and then we discovered the transformer problems and the other bits and bobs with this amp. It just needed a full restore. Part 2 we fitted the transformer and rebuilt all the power section, and now in part 3 we're going to rebuild this preamp section. So we're going to do some mods to this amp. We're going to replace most of these resistors, if not all of them. A lot of them are decaying, dropping to bits. Some more have split in two. So we're going to go through this and make it safe and also make it work. We've got some issues here. So we've got these screen resistors which test really good, but unfortunately that one flopping about, it's bare wire there, and it's got potential to touch the screen on there, so that's got to go because it's not safe. Not for the tubes anyway. If that shorts across grid to screen, it won't like that. So we're going to get rid of all of this. We're going to mod it now. One channel we're going to do more in the line of a JTM 45, and the other channel we're going to do, because channel 1 and channel 2, so the other channels are going to be more like a deluxe reverb. That's what we're aiming for, those circuits anyway. How close it'll actually sound to either of those amps is another question. Now, got some hoils on the back here, and I really am struggling. There's no space on this board really without drilling a hole, and I don't really want to do that. For a master volume, that is something else I'm kind of looking at the minute. May do that, may not, still thinking about it. Right, we've done some work on this amp then. So we've done the phase inverter up to here, and also this stage. Now this amp's got a cathodione phase inverter on it, and when I first started working on this amp, I kind of glanced at this layout here, and I thought that doesn't look like a long tail pair at a glance. So I've actually traced it through, and it is a cathodione. This half of this 12x7 here is a separate stage. The cathodione is just on the single stage there. On the other stage, the other half of that. So we've managed to get down to here. Now we've got 3 resistors under here, which is 680k. You can see I've got that up there, so I've been testing it. So we've got 3 resistors, 680k, and they are the mixer resistors from the channel, each channel. And then the other one is a grid leak going to ground here from this part here. Really awkward when you've got no schematic for these amps. You've got to trace them out. Just slow you down a bit when you're working on them. So from here, this is where we're going to do all the mods. And on the jack sockets and on the pots as well, the tone stack you can see here is on the pots. This 22k resistor that fell apart goes to ground on the end of the base there. This resistor here is negative feedback. It took me a while looking at that for a minute. I thought there's nothing on the end of that. Then it dawned on me that there is no negative feedback on this amp. So that 10k, now there's 100k missing. So when they botched this output transformer on, they must have removed that and not put it back properly. So this first stage, which is, if we look coming in there, that really ought to be screened cable. So we may change that. It's just a single strand there going in there. We've got screen cable on for the grids going into the output tubes. I've done that with screened cable, grounded one end there quite convenient having that. Just put a tag on there and soldered it all in. Now this Weimar cap here is the coupling cap from each channel into this stage here, and this is the other coupling cap from the other channel, which is only, well, it measures 880 picofarad, and this is 47 nanofarad, so there's quite a difference between those. So probably going to be changing those anyway going into there. Not sure what we're going to do with those yet, but this first stage, and that's going to be this first channel here, which, just have a look, that is the bass channel. So this is going to be the JTM 45 channel, or the first two stages will be JTM 45. That's what we're going to have. So you can see on here, so this is the JTM 45. We've got two stages there, and we're going to use those two stages. So we've got an 820, I think that is, and 150 microfarad. That looks like, yes. And the cathodes are shared on there as well, so both cathodes are sharing that. 200k plate resistors going on there. So what we'll do there, and because we're not going to bother with, we've got the two inputs, but one's just bright and one's normal. Do you know, I'm in two minds whether to remove one of these inputs and just put a control in there. We could have something different on there. I might think about that. So with having these three stages, because we removed, because what's happening on, let's have a look what's happening on here. So we're coming out of this jack socket here, going into that grid there, and then we're coming out of pin 1, there's the plate resistor, and then we've got a 0.047 there, 47 nanofarad. That goes off to the volume there, and then we come out of the treble control through the EQ, and that goes into the grid of this tube here. Is that right? Oh, I misread that. Yeah, that's right, that goes into there. So this and this channel, this input, goes into that, the other half, comes out to pin 6, goes through another 47, 100k resistor that's fallen to pieces, like one or two of the resistors, it's just old and tired. That comes out of this wire that's actually displaced on here, sorry, comes out of here to this wire that's displaced. That then goes down to this treble pot here, and then goes through this section, comes out the volume, and then goes into this half here. So that's basically how that's working, and then both of those are mixed into this section on this tube here, this one half. They're mixed into there through those resistors we've got there, those 680Ks, and then into the phase inverter, which is a cathodiene. So we can make one of these channels quite hot, really. 1, 2, we've got 3 stages there going on. Interesting. So we've got a lot of options really on this amp. There's quite a few things we could do. We could, as I say, we could remove one of these inputs and we could add a mid pot or something in there. So let's look at this jack socket then. If we're going in here, we can see, if we look in there, there's the grid leak resistor. That's actually been, has that been just snipped off there? I think it has. So that socket's probably never been properly, that's the ground I've removed when I had to take the board out. So we've got to put that back. Excuse my voice today, it's not very clever. So that's not connected up. We're just looking at that now. That's actually not connected up there. So we need, if we're leaving this socket in, we need to solder that back up. Someone's actually disconnected that. I'm not sure why. So we've got two 68k resistors and a 680, and we've got a 1 meg grid leak. So we're going to swap that 680 for a 1 meg. We've got these two 68Ks. Is that what we've got on here? Yep, 68K. So we'll leave those. We might change them. We'll measure them, see what they're like. And we're going to remove this green wire. This goes down to the grid on the first, which is on the first half of that 12x7, which is the first stage of this base channel, which we're going to make this JTM45 channel. So we're going to get rid of that green wire. We're going to put some screen cable in, because, and there is some screen cable in this amp already. The volumes and things have got screen cable, and I don't know whether that's factory or whether someone's done that. If they have, it's many years ago it's been done, but I've got a feeling that that is factory. Right, that's removed those. One of those is over 100k and the other one is 91, so they've gone really high in value, so we don't need those. Right, so we've got we've removed, I decided to remove one of those sockets because the one reason is the grid stopper really should be right next to the tube. I'll show you that in a minute. So we've got a 1 meg grid leak on there. We've got the wire connected up, grounded at one end, and then what I've done is I've used some 18 gauge wire and coiled it around this ground bus. We're just going to solder that up just to get that so that's got some support and we've got a good ground off there. So if we just go back with the camera, and you can see there we've got the 68k in there, and yes, it's metal film because I haven't got any carbon films, but it doesn't matter. So we've got him in there. So that's that half done to it. Now let's have a look at this again now, because looking through the camera I've had a bit of a study of it. So 820 ohms, that's the cathode resistor. That's what we're going to look at next. And 250 microfarad, that is, not 150. That's me looking. I bet you're all going, that's 250. And it is indeed. It looks like a 1 when you kind of stood back from it, but when I actually took it from under the camera and had a good look, it's 250. And then I remembered it is, because normally put a 220 on when you're doing the JTM 45s. It suddenly came back to me. I've done that many amps just lately, starting to forget things. So we need to find a 220 microfarad capacitor, and it needs to be axial as well. Shall we do something with these grounds as well, because they just laid across? Let's remove these and put some 18 gauge wire and coil them over. I've just got one of those Plessy caps off the bypass capacitors, 37.12 microfarad with 46.6 ESR. So I think we can say he's all over. Not the time one for putting used capacitors in a tray and saving them, they go straight in the bin, but yes, I think they've had the money's worth out of that, and that's obviously been like that for a long time. So when somebody changed that transformer and did all that work, somebody actually left that a comment saying that about I can't remember exactly what it was now, something about leaving those plessy caps, and it was absolutely right, because they are shot. Well, that one is, and I presume the other one will be the same, won't it? Let's try the other one. He's 417 microfarad with a 35.5 ohm ESR. So yes, they weren't doing a lot of bypassing, were they? Well, they weren't doing a lot of anything, I don't think, but if they were certainly affecting the sound of this amp. Right, we'll just have a look at what we've done now. So we've got our 820 ohm resistor, our 220 microfarad bypass capacitor there, and what I've done is, because remember we've got this channel shares that stage and this stage, one on each half of the tube, so I've just brought the cathode up from that one, disconnected it from there, that's where it was, where this wire is, and I've just brought that up and connected it on here, and we're done with that channel now. Apart from the tone stack, we're going to have a look at that, but we've got everything in. We've got the coupling capacitor going into the next stage there, 22 microfarad. So that's that done. So now we need to look at the other stage. We've got that in there for screen cable on there. This vibrato channel. So again, 68k, 1.5k cathode resistor, 25 microfarad coupling capacitor, 100k plate resistor, and then we've got the tone stack. So we're just going to focus on that first stage of that, and then we've got the second stage here as the same on the JTM 45. We just want to get the first stage of each channel done and get most of this sorted out here. Right, we've got this amp ready to fire up. So I've got a meter down here monitoring the plate voltage, and that is on the plate there, and then I've got this one monitoring the bias as we go. So we're going to run this up on the current limiter. We have got a speaker plugged into it, and you can see we've got some voltage going in there, not a lot because I've got it held down with a 15 watt bulb. Right, so I've just put another 15 watt in, so we've got 30 watts of current limiting now. I've got 69, 70 volts climbing going into it, and you can see we've got that climbing on there. I've got the signal generator going through it, so when it begins to conduct we should hear something, hopefully. Voltage has climbed up to 95 volts now going into the amp, and still climbing. Drawing no current barely whatsoever. Let's go up a bit more. Let's put 55 watts in it. Bulbs are going dimmer now, so bias is okay. We've got negative 29. I haven't connected up the signal generator. There we go. And we've got life. That tone stack doesn't appear to be doing a lot. So I haven't modded the tone stacks to change them or anything because I wanted to see what they sounded like, and then possibly we were going to alter those. But that tone stack doesn't appear to be working on that channel. Let's try the other channel. So that's all looking good. We've got negative 27 on the bias, but we've only got 149 volts going into the amp. So let me just drop that a little bit, frequency on there. The bass. The bass is working on that channel. I think the treble is, but I don't think it is on the other. There we go. I'm just not as piercing that. We only need to hear that there's something coming through it. So that's all looking good. 280 volts on the plate. Let's go up to 80 watts. Now if you see, the plate voltage has gone up significantly. We've got 340 volt. Actually, I'm getting more conductance now, so that's starting to drop. Let's just keep an eye on the current. 160 milliamps. We're drawing not a lot. So that's looking good. Negative 32 on the bias, so that's in a window. Obviously that's only the negative volts, but it gives us an idea. Probably something not quite right with that bass. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll get the guitar through it in a minute, shall we? Just give it a little blast. Right, so I've just had a quick check on the bias on these tubes. I've got 44 milliamps on this side and I've got 27 on that side. So those tubes are not well matched at all. There is a discrepancy in the output transformer. We've got 74 ohms on this side and 61 on there. There's a slight discrepancy. So I might just swap those tubes over and see if that improves things, but I don't think it will, not to that extent anyway. Right, we've managed to bias this amp up. We've found a set of tubes, we've mixed and matched and whatever, and we've got a set of tubes that are pretty close match. We have got a bit of a discrepancy on this transformer, but we finished up with 17.6 and 16.2. So that's not too far out. It's not a perfect match, but it's acceptable for this amp. So that's that sorted. So the bias is all done now. The output section's all running nice and smooth. So we've got no issues there. So now we've got to focus on these channels. We've got a couple of mods to do. What else? And this EQ, this tone stack on here doesn't work. And we've got a bit of a hum on this channel, which I've got to find as well. Put some more light on there. Just a bit of a hum. And right, I've got the Kelly finished. I'll just show you some of the things that I've actually done to this amp from when we looked at it on the bench. So I've added a master volume, and I've added that going out of the third stage. Remember, this amp had got 2 gain stages for each channel, and then a third one shared, and then a cathode phase inverter. So I've put the master volume between the grid on the cathode and the third stage. So now we can crank this amp, and it does sound great crank. This amp really is, the way that I've put this amp together, it really is a grinding machine. It's not a clean sort of Fender type amp. It's just, there's no negative feedback on it, and I thought I'd leave that off and see how we go with it. I may end up having to put some on later. So what I'm going to do with it now, I'm going to run it up, demo it, let the customer take it, try it, see how he likes it. Bearing in mind he's already got 1 or 2 amps that are quite clean, so this one, I mean, it's incredibly loud as well. As soon as you get it off the stop, it's not, you know, it's not breaking up as soon as you turn it up, but it's a bit fierce. Some new strings on. They are shot. Now I've also got a switch which I've put here. Remember, we had 2 inputs on each channel, so one of the inputs was removed for the master volume, and the other one's been removed for this switch. And I've got an extra bypass capacitor on that third stage, 22 microfarad, because there was no bypass cap on there, so we can switch that in to give it a bit more grunt. It is a very bassy channel though, that, because you know the J1045 has that 220 microfarad bypass cap, which is what I've got on here, and you can tell that's quite growly when you lean on it. So if we down the master and then start to take the channel gate, the channel volume up, we need to start losing some of that bass. And that, we've got the volume there, and just a shade over halfway. This thing is seriously loud. gain in now. If we flick the switch, a bit of trouble stretching now with my thumb. When I get to there, that really is painful. So you can see tons of gain there. That's it. Very bright. Once you get the bass off, if you get the bass in on the distortion, it does get a bit farty, but again, it's that Marshall layout. So let's have a listen to this channel. Fat tone on there. So if we turn that again, if we just back the master off, and this will also gain up really. Actually, let's just take that back because I left that booster switch in there. Just put this is the original tone circuit that's still on this channel. So let's crank this one. brighter that when that's cranked. If we hit the boost switch, definitely a gain machine, that one. So there we go. So we'll let the customer take it, see what he thinks. If he likes it the way it is, then you won't see a part 4, and if we have to tweak it again, then may do another video on it. But that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching, you all take care, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye bye for now.